Welcome or welcome back to Wired Gaming. Today we're going over a Sons of the Forest Ultimate Beginner's Guide. In this guide we're going to have loads of tips and tricks, but if you do have any of your own, drop them in the comments down below. I greatly appreciate it. There will be something in here that will help everyone from the beginners all the way up to the veteran forest players. If you are new to the franchise, this will definitely help you out a lot. One of the first things you are going to want to do is set up a tarp. If you don't actually have one, or you want to keep the one that you've got, you can set Kelvin to do it for you. Setting up a tarp allows you to sleep and save the game. You will need to save your game, because if you don't and you die, you will restart and have to go all the way back to the beginning. The game works on saves. There are no checkpoints. What you do have instead of a checkpoint is a system where you can die once a day. If it's by cannibals, what will happen is they will take you to their camp, and whilst at their camp you will have a chance to escape, grab your things and make your way far away from those guys. But if that happens twice in one day, on that second time it is death and you will have to reload a save. Your GPS or minimap is one of the best things that you will use the entire game. It shows awesome locations. As you can see here, you've got the green dots, which are pretty much POIs, then cave entrances, and it also shows you the locations of your teammates. It will only show Virginia if you've put a GPS locator on her, but you can also middle click the mouse button or click the scroll wheel to change how close you are, to zoom in, zoom out, and that way it gives you a better view of what's going on around the entire map. Keep an eye on your basic stats. On the bottom right hand corner, as you can see, you've got water, food, and tiredness. This tiredness, when this goes down, you won't be able to perform basic tasks. You'll slowly start to feel fatigue, so stamina, which is the blue bar on the right hand side of the icon, you won't be able to run as often, you won't be able to melee, and all of that good stuff that you need to keep yourself alive and to build bases. So make sure you get yourself a nice amount of rest alongside some food and some water. Scavenging for food is a much easier process in this one than it was the original forest. There are animals absolutely everywhere, so make sure you take the opportunity to go out and do a little bit of hunting from time to time just to replenish your food stocks, especially in the summer months when it's not too icy and things aren't going horribly wrong, because when it does start to get icy, animals will be few and far between, and Kelvin won't be able to fish for any fish from any of the lakes. Edible items found around the world, such as berries, are absolutely everywhere, and one thing that you will notice when coming across these random bushes is you will have the option to eat things. So at first you'll just have a question mark, and if you eat directly from the bush by holding the E button when prompted, you'll have a symbol pop up which says you can eat, but this symbol will either be green or red. Kelvin's not just for quick tarp access as well. You can go over, speak to him, and get him to grab you some fish. If you simply get him to collect items, head on over. He is a great fisherman. Green or red. Green means that it is good for you and you can eat it. Red means that you should pick it up and potentially use it in something else, but it is not edible. But if things get really bad and you are getting really hungry, you can always pop an arm on the barbecue. Next is a bunker location. Now, this bunker location is brilliant. You are going to want to come here as soon as you've got yourself on your feet, you've got yourself some food, and you feel like you can explore a little bit more. If you are lucky, you will crash land right next to it. If not, then it is pretty central to the bottom half of the map anyway. But you don't need any tools to actually get in this location. All you need to do is come straight in and walk into the cave. There's no enemies or anything like that down here, so you will be pretty safe. And it is pretty much a starter location, but it is definitely a vital location. Just follow the path when you're inside the actual cave and go all the way down to the end. Do not set a fire in here like I did, because this fire alarm will continue to go off. Then when you made it down to the end, you'll be able to see there is somewhere to sleep. There's some batteries and some other bits in here too. Alongside a very important part, a 3D printer. There is some printer ink in here which will help you to craft the two basic things that you'll need at the start of the game. Number one is the flask, and number two is the mask. The mask is not mandatory. You can craft it if you'd like to use it. All that does is you put it over your face and it deters the cannibals ever so slightly. Something you're going to want to try and do as often as possible is something that involves strength. So chopping down trees, combat, All of those things, building, all of that good stuff, is going to be what increases your strength level. Now, your strength level is indicated at the bottom right-hand corner. It is the arm slash sort of tensed icon. And what that does is every time it gets a little bit higher, it adds a segment to your health. Therefore, you can take a bit more of a beating before you eventually go down. Crafting is relatively simple. Obviously hold I, or just tap I, sorry, and then just scroll around and you can see everything that you'll be able to craft. Now, this little icon here is what you can actually craft. So there'll be an exclamation mark and times 2, 3, 4, depending on whatever you can actually get together. So as you can see here, we can do the crafted club, the leaf armor, and the repair tool. So all of those items we can craft, and to craft them, it is pretty simple. So for the leaf armor, we need cloths and leaf. So if I just combine that, now everything else that is part of the crafting item or ingredients is now blanked out. The only thing that we can actually add to this is the leaf. So you add the leaves, and then there we go. That is how you make the leaf armor. So that is one piece of crafting there, which is pretty simple, really. The crafting system is absolutely amazing. I definitely think it is much better than than the original Forest. What you can also do is change the light color. If you don't like the white, or it's not to your taste, you can just mess around with it here. Change it and have it as whatever you want. It's just a really cool little feature. You can also turn it off, but obviously you can't see shit. Also, to keep extra room in your inventory, make sure you build yourself some shelves. These shelves are brilliant, and you can put almost everything on these things. They are so useful. And another important thing to take note of in your inventory is the actual stock that you've got. Oftentimes you'll be absolutely rammed and full, but you'll come across other items. So what you can do is just craft everything you possibly can. So right now I can't pick up any more alcohol, so I will craft a Molotov. That way that gives me an extra slot to pick up another bottle, and we are as full as we can be. And then when it comes to food, as you can see on my HUD, I am not completely full, but I have complete full on the ration packs. So if I eat this one, it just saves you from literally having to replenish your stock. So you hold I, you will bring up your backpack. On this backpack, you can post whatever you want and what you think you'll need in a sticky situation. Now, if you head over to the main inventory, hover over your backpack, right click, you can add certain items to it. So if you want to add flares, you can add flares. Anything that is not grayed out, you can add to your bag for quick access. Something that has just been recently added to the game, though, is now hotkeys. So as well as having the backpack, you can also assign hotkeys all the way from 1 all the way up until 0. So that is the potential of 10 weapons you have right at your fingertips. Armor is going to be something that is absolutely vital to you. And to start off, you can make yourself the leaf armor. So you just add a cloth, add loads of leaves, and a bish bash bosh. That is a nice starter piece of armor. It doesn't offer much protection, but it is better than nothing. Just add loads in there like that, add a few cloths, and then you can continuously craft. Unfortunately, there's no option to craft everything at once, so you do have to craft individual pieces. But leaf armor is the easiest one to do. And then if you don't want leaf armor, or you've got enough resources to add something else, then what you can do is go for the bone armor. The bone armor is relatively good. This is 4 bones, 1 rope, and I believe 1 tape. The bone armor is a step up. It is better. Obviously you can get tech armor and stuff, but that requires circuit boards, batteries, all of that very difficult stuff to actually obtain. And then simply head on over to your right hand side. You can have multiple different pieces of armor on. It doesn't all have to be the same set, as you can see by the different colors there. They are the different varying levels of armor types. So for simple armor, all you can do is just bring a cannibal over to a fire that you've created, or failing that, some body parts over there. Pop them on the actual fire, and when they burn after long enough, you will receive some bones. So that's great for just not so much a starter bit of armor, but something is better than nothing. Cannibal camps are a great source of loot. Yes, they can be quite daunting, especially if you can see a bunch of them hanging around, but some of them are completely empty, and you can head in there, grab everything that you possibly can, and even if you come across some of these electrical items like this and laptops, you can hit them, which will then produce yourselves an electronic circuit board, which are vital later on in the game. Virginia is an extremely useful asset, especially when it comes to those later game stages when you've got mutants knocking on your base's door. So all you need to do to actually tame her is pretty simple. Just don't hit her, don't shoot her, but when you do tame her, what you can do is give her a shotgun and a pistol. Make sure you do put a GPS locator on her as well, because that way you'll be able to see exactly where she is. Now, when it comes to combat, the cannibals can be quite ruthless, especially early game, so I would definitely avoid attacking them if they're not attacking you. The longer you can go being peaceful with these guys, the better off it will be for you. But if all else fails, and peace is no longer an option, craft yourself a wooden bow. One headshot to these guys will finish them off, and you can also get the arrow back if it doesn't break. They're great pieces of kit, and it's so easy to craft. The hardest part about crafting this is actually getting the feathers for the arrows. And you've finally got everything up and running. You're on your feet. Now it's time to build a base. But one of the most important things about actually building a base in Sons of the Forest is getting the location right, because eventually you are going to have hordes upon hordes of cannibals coming after you. So what I would recommend is picking somewhere that is easily defendable. So somewhere with mainly one entrance. So as you can see here, we're surrounded by water, so they can only come at me from this front section. So that way I don't have to worry about anyone attacking the backside whilst I'm fighting. Now, the only downside of doing it near water is when things freeze over, the cannibals will run across lakes. But the upside is you need to be close to water anyway, because obviously it's an important part of the game. You're going to need to drink a lot. Another thing I would recommend doing is getting torches up and running as well, so you can see the enemies before they get too close. That way you're not just relying on the sounds of them absolutely destroying your outer walls. Thanks for watching, I hope it's helped. If it has, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support us a little bit further, consider becoming a member. Make sure you stick around for much more Sons of the Forest content, including guides, gameplay, and much more. I've been Wired, you've been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.